In Lawrenceville, Georgia, Gabrielle Moss was a 10-year-old American girl who was stabbed to death by her stepmother and her body forced into a trash and burnt too. This is by far one of the most brutal crimes. In 2013, this became a prominent case leading to reforms in Georgia's child welfare system. Tiffany Nicole Moss was born on July 1983, was convicted of murdering Gabrielle in 2019 and was subsequently sentenced to death. The murder received national as well as international attention. Moss physically abused Gabrielle for several years before her death. Now let's break down the case. Gabrielle Moss was born on April 23, 2003. Shortly after Gabrielle's birth, her mother, who was addicted to drugs, surrendered her parental rights, which means she gets no control or any rights over her daughter anymore because of her condition. So Gabrielle's father, Eman, gained sole custody of her daughter. Eman raised Gabrielle and often took her to the Freedom Christian Church, and that is where he met Tiffany Moss, a preschool teacher. Eman and Tiffany married in July 2009 and had 2 children, a son and a daughter. Though there are no records indicating that Tiffany abused her biological children, there were many records proving she did abuse Gabrielle. The abuse increased in March 2010 after a beating of Gabrielle caused Moss to lose her job. Gabrielle, then age 6, told a school nurse that she feared going home with a bad report card because she worried her parents would hurt her. She also told the nurse that her stepmother had spanked her with a curtain rod. The nurse then found multiple scabs, bruises and welts on Gabrielle's arms, back, chest, legs, and shoulders. Gabrielle was taken to the police headquarters. Tiffany was arrested and charged with first-degree child cruelty. Tiffany admitted to hitting Gabrielle 3 times after she failed to do her homework. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 5 years of probation as part of Georgia's first offender program. The Georgia Division of Family and Children's Services, GDFCS, signed the plea deal, and after they completed parenting classes, the case was eventually dropped. After that March 2010 beating, Gabrielle was taken from her father and stepmother's home and placed with her grandmother Ruben. She stayed with her for about 6 months, and during this time, Gabrielle's school performance improved. Eman fought for custody of her daughter again and won, so the GDFCS returned her to him. Ruben fought to retain custody of her granddaughter. Though she suspected Gabrielle was abused, she could not persuade authorities to give her custody. The March 2010 abuse incident launched an escalating cycle of more abuse that ultimately resulted in Gabrielle's death. Moss continued to abuse Gabrielle for the next several years. In July 2012, Gabrielle on 2 attempts tried to run away from home. In one case, Gabrielle ran away and was found sleeping in the bushes of a nearby apartment. Gabrielle told the officer that she had run away because her stepmother was mean to her. The officer reported the events to the GDFCS and filed runaway and curfew violation charges against Gabrielle. In May 2013, the Mosses visited Eman's sister Sharonice's house for Mother's Day. Sharonice and Ruben noticed that Gabrielle's hair had been cut. When Ruben confronted Moss about it, Moss reportedly said, "If you act ugly, you should look ugly." Sharonice also noticed that Gabrielle acted more timidly. After the 2012 to 2013 school year ended, Eman and Moss announced that they would pull Gabrielle from public school and homeschool her. Sharonese objected to the idea and called the GDFCS, asking them to intervene. They declined. On August 6, 2013, the GDFCS received an anonymous tip that Gabrielle was being rejected by her father and stepmother and appeared to be thin. According to a lawsuit against the GDFCS filed by Ruben, the GDFCS did not visit the home and did not conduct a follow-up due to having no current address and current maltreatment. Mother's Day, 12 May 2013, was the last time any members of Gabrielle's family, besides her father, stepmother, and siblings, saw her alive. In the late summer of 2013, Emma, Moss, their children, and Gabrielle moved to an apartment in Lawrenceville, Georgia. According to District Attorney Danny Porter, this was when, for all intents and purposes, Gabrielle vanished from the face of the earth. During this time, Eman worked 2 jobs, making him largely absent from Gabrielle's life. He would leave for his first job in the early morning, briefly return in the late afternoon, and then leave for his second job around 6 o'clock p.m. before finally returning at around 10:30 p.m. or 11 o'clock p.m. While Eman was at work, Moss was left to care for the children. At some point, Moss began to starve Gabrielle. According to prosecutors, the starvation likely lasted several weeks. During this time, Gabrielle was confined to her bedroom. Neighbors only saw Moss's biological children and did not know they had an older sister. Gabrielle eventually became too weak to move and could not leave her bed, urinate, or defecate. Though Moss denied food to Gabrielle, she did take care of and fed her 2 biological children. On several occasions, she sent Eman pictures of meals she had prepared for her children. According to Dr. Stavenberg, the medical examiner who testified at trial, the process of starving to death would have been painful. At first, Gabrielle would have experienced hunger pains. She then would have become fatigued. She would continue losing energy and weight until she ultimately died. In the early evening of October 24th, Eman testified that when he came home, Moss told him something was wrong with Gabrielle. He then went into the bathroom and found his daughter in the bathtub shaking. Gabrielle was unresponsive and her eyes were rolling back and forth. Eman moved Gabrielle to her bed, where she stayed for the next couple of days.
Eman, did you take her to the doctor then?
I did not take her to the doctor, sir.
Why not?
I really can't explain it. I was trying to fix something. Like I said, I'm not God, but I'm trying to fix something irreversible.
Eman visited her during this time and tried to feed her but was unsuccessful. Gabrielle died on October 28, 2013. By the time Gabrielle died, she was severely underweight, with Dr. Stephenberg describing her as more or less skin and bones. She weighed 32 pounds, which is the weight of the average 3-year-old. Additionally, her organs were found at an autopsy to be very small. On October 28th, Moss called Eman at work to tell him that Gabrielle was dead. Eman testified at trial that when he came home from work, the family seemed normal, with the children playing and Moss watching TV. He found his daughter lying on a blanket on her bedroom floor. He told his wife they should call the police. He insisted they couldn't because she would lose her children. Moss told Eman they needed to hide Gabrielle's body. Eman wrapped Gabrielle's body with blankets and moved her to the computer room. The couple kept Gabrielle's body in their apartment for several days, and their lives largely went back to normal. Eman testified at trial that he would go to work and spend time at home with Gabrielle's body, grieving. Moore suggested burying Gabrielle and reporting her as a runaway, but maybe Eman couldn't find a better way to bury her body. So Eman went to Walmart and bought a galvanized trash can, trash bags, charcoal, and lighter fluid. On Halloween, Moss and Eman decided to put Gabrielle's body in the trash can and burn it. When they tried to place her in the trash can, they found that she was stiff and used duct tape to compress her body. Eman covered her with a comforter. The Mosses then stuffed Gabrielle's body in the trash bag. In the early morning of November 1st, the Moss couple put the trash can containing Gabrielle's body in the back of their car and took their children to find a place to burn it. They found a secluded location and removed the trash can from the vehicle. They added charcoal briquettes to the bottom of the can, doused Gabrielle's body with lighter fluid, and set it on fire. As the couple watched the body burn, they found it would not burn to ash. After about 5 minutes, they extinguished the fire and took the trash can and Gabrielle's body back to the apartment. The day after attempting to burn Gabrielle's body, Eman went to work with Gabrielle's body still in the back of his car. He confessed to a friend about the crime. The friend urged him to call the police. Eman thought about it, and after coming home from his second job, he decided to contact the police. At 4:00 a.m., he made the call, saying he was suicidal. Eman informed Morse about his call to the police. Upon learning that the police had been called, Morse placed the trash can with Gabrielle's remains in a grassy area at the apartment and fled in the family vehicle with her children. Upon arrival at the apartment, the police were told by Eman that Gabrielle had drank some chemicals and died. He claimed that he had panicked and put her body in a trash can outside the apartment and tried to cremate it. Police found the body and did not believe Eman's story, quickly identifying him and his wife as suspects. Eman was arrested almost immediately. Moss dropped her children off at her mother's house and ultimately turned herself in. Eman ultimately confessed to covering up Gabrielle's murder by reporting her as a runaway and trying to burn her body. In 2015, Gabrielle's father pled guilty to felony murder and concealing a death. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In exchange, he agreed to testify against Moss. Eman is currently incarcerated at the Smith State Prison in Clineville, Georgia. The case against Moss instead went to trial. Moss's trial began on April 15, 2019. Jury consisted of 6 men and 6 women. Moss did not give an opening statement, nor did she cross-examine any witnesses or give a closing argument. District Attorney Danny Porter and Assistant District Attorney Lisa Jones called 18 witnesses, including Gabrielle's aunt, grandmother, and 4th grade teacher. They also called Eman and Dr. Stephenberg, the medical examiner who performed an autopsy on Gabrielle's body. On April 29th, Moss was convicted on all 6 counts, including 1 count of mother's murder, 2 counts of felony murder, 2 counts of cruelty to children, and 1 count of concealing a death.
I wasn't expecting, I didn't know what the jury would do, but I was happy when she got sentenced for all 6 counts. That made me feel good. That's some justice. That's like, wow, finally justice after 5 years. I wanted her to live and suffer, never, ever, ever get out, because I wanted her to feel what my granddaughter felt. I wanted her to understand what she had done to a child.
In the state's closing argument, Porter argued that Moss did not deserve a life sentence, whether it be a life sentence with parole or a life without parole sentence. He argued because she would never change. There will always be that dark side waiting to come out. He also argued that for Moss, life without parole would not be a worse sentence than death because she should not regret her crimes and would never be bothered by them. The trial was postponed to the next day. The jury continued deliberations the next day and ultimately agreed on the death penalty as a punishment for Moss. Sentencing occurred on May 1st. Judge Hutchinson agreed with the jury's recommendation and sentenced Moss to death by lethal injection. Moss was the first person to be sentenced to death in Georgia in over 5 years. Judge Hutchinson scheduled her execution for between June 7th and 14th, 2019. The execution did not occur during the June 7 to 14 time frame due to the appeals process, which resulted in an automatic stay of his execution being applied to the initial scheduled execution date. She is currently incarcerated at Arendelle State Prison and is Georgia's only female death row inmate. If Moss is eventually executed, she will be the third woman in Georgia to be executed since 1945. Despite representing herself at trial, Moss accepted legal representation in her appeal. Soon after she was sentenced to death, the Georgia Capital Defender Group filed a motion asking for a new trial, arguing, among other things, that Moss was not competent to act as her attorney. A status hearing regarding the motion was held on August 2019. Eman and Moss, who remained married, lost custody of their children after Gabrielle's murder. The children were sent to live with foster parents